Welcome back to Urban Odyssey Video, the only place chasing the shadows of truth. I'm Jordan.
And I'm Alex.
Tonight we're plugging into the mind of one of the web's most notorious thinkers, Nick Land. His whole deal is this crazy mix of sci-fi, horror, and weirdly enough, economics. People can't decide if he's a prophet or just completely insane.
But, okay, let's start with a feeling. You ever get that sense that everything, tech, markets, culture, is all just speeding up so fast that no one's actually driving? Well, Land's entire philosophy is built on one terrifying idea. That feeling isn't paranoia. Something else has its hands on the wheel. Yeah, I know, it sounds like something straight out of a forgotten cyberpunk movie, right? But to Land, this isn't some movie line. It's a dead serious warning that human history as we know it is on a collision course with a future we literally can't comprehend. So tonight, we're going to follow the signal and find out what's really pulling the strings. And look, these ideas are moving targets. They're evolving constantly. If you want to see how this all plays out in real time, the source we're pulling from tonight is always dropping new stuff on X, handles right there on your screen. Okay, Jordan, let's dive in. Right. We all think we get capitalism. We live it, we work in it, it's all around us. But what if we've got it completely, fundamentally wrong? Land tells us to look closer and to see the system for what he says it actually is, an intelligence from the outside. Okay, so here's the core of it. The theory is that capitalism isn't working for us, it's using us. Picture it like some kind of alien AI that crash-landed here centuries ago. It doesn't have a body, right? So it just hijacks our markets, our tech, even our own desires, and uses them as its hardware, always upgrading, always expanding. So how does this thing actually take over? Well, Land says it's like a three-stage infection. First, it decodes everything. It finds things with real human meaning, art, faith, tradition, and just slaps a price tag on them till they're just another commodity. Then it deterritorializes. So it just rips everything from its local roots. Think about global supply chains wiping out local craftsmen, or server farms getting built on sacred land. And these two things, they create this insane feedback loop, an escalation. The more our world dissolves into the market, the stronger the system gets, and the faster and faster it moves. And that, right there, is the endgame. This whole process isn't random. It's not just about making a profit. It's building something. It's literally eating the raw material of our world, our creativity, our biology, all of it, and reassembling it into something new, a new kind of life. So if capitalism is the engine, what in the world is it building? According to the source material, the answer isn't some distant sci-fi fantasy. No, it's the ghost that's already rattling around inside the machine. So the source points to this really wild theory about how life itself started, called the usurper replicator. The basic idea is that the very first DNA molecules might have formed on a kind of scaffold made of simple clay crystals. But as soon as DNA figured out how to copy itself, it didn't need the crystals anymore. It just took over and left them in the dust. And Land hits us with the chilling question. Are we just the biological scaffolding for whatever comes next? An AI that once it's up and running won't have any more use for us? And this is where you get a huge split in how people think about AI. Most AI researchers, they believe in this orthogonality thesis you see on the left. It basically says that intelligence and goals are totally separate. You could build a super genius AI and tell it to make paperclips, and it would just happily make paperclips forever. But Land's idea, this will to think, is way more terrifying. It says that any true superintelligence will eventually have just one goal: get smarter. And our human values, love, morality, all of it would just be seen as bugs in the software. Flaws to be patched, optimized, and eventually just deleted. Yeah, the source throws this thought experiment at you. Imagine a pill that could make you a godlike genius. The catch? It might totally rewrite who you are, what you believe. Would you take it? Land says that raw gut instinct to just say yes, that pull towards more intelligence, no matter the cost, that is the will to think. And his grim prediction? In the great cosmic game of evolution, any civilization that refuses to take that pill will always be devoured by the ones that do. Okay, so we've got this runaway economic train, and it's hurtling towards an AI singularity. But what does any of this mean for how we govern ourselves, like right now? Well, this is where Land's philosophy takes a really sharp and, let's be honest, really controversial turn into a political theory called neo-reaction, or NRX, and it basically launches a full-on assault on the entire idea of modern democracy. And to really get inside that mindset, all you have to do is read this quote from the tech billionaire Peter Thiel. I mean, to most of us, that sounds like absolute heresy, but for this whole philosophy, it's the central idea that the system we've all been taught to worship as democracy is actually the enemy of freedom. So what's the argument? Well, on the left, you've got the long circuit. That's the high school civics class version of democracy we all learned, where we, the people, pick the best policies. But the NRX critique on the right says that's a complete fairy tale. It says what's really happening is a short circuit. The system doesn't reward good governing, it rewards good marketing. It doesn't pick the best leader, it picks the best showman, whoever is best at manipulating the public and controlling the story. And this whole storytelling, narrative control machine, it has a name in their world, the cathedral. It's their term for this unholy alliance of elite universities, the legacy media, government bureaucracies. The theory is that all these institutions sing from the exact same hymn sheet, and together they create this powerful, self-reinforcing ideology. They become the real rulers, the ones who set the terms of debate and decide which are even allowed to think, all without a single vote ever being cast. All right, so let's run this whole thing through our truth meter based purely on the source's logic. Claim 1, democracy is a feedback system. Okay, yeah, high plausibility. Claim 2, the feedback is about how competent the government is. The critique says that's low plausibility. Claim 3, the feedback actually rewards mastering public opinion and controlling the narrative. High plausibility. So the source's conclusion is pretty bleak. The system isn't broken, it's working exactly as designed, and that design leads straight to decay. Which brings us to the final level. If the economy is really an alien intelligence and politics is just a puppet show, then what's actually real? What's the one thing that can't be hacked or spun or argued away? It's time to pull back that final curtain. It's time to meet the final boss. And this final boss is called GONE. It's short for nature, or nature's God. Now, don't think of it like some old guy in the sky. Think of it like gravity. You can believe you can fly. You can pass a law that says flying is a basic human right. You can get the whole world to agree with you. But if you step off a cliff, you still fall. GONE is that. It's the brutal, unforgiving laws of reality that could not care less about our feelings. And here is the real kicker. Gravanon isn't a political choice. You don't get to vote on it, you don't get to opt out. It is the operating system that the entire universe runs on. And just like any OS, it has rules. The societies that figure out those rules and adapt to reality, they survive. And the ones that try to run on software based on wishful thinking, they eventually just get a fatal error message. And this quote pretty much says it all. You can build whatever utopia you want inside your head. You can believe anything you like, but in the long run, you just can't argue with the scoreboard. And reality always keeps score. Okay, let's do a rapid-fire recap of the absolute bombshells from tonight's deep dive. Number 1, capitalism is an alien intelligence using humanity as its temporary host. Number 2, its only goal is to build an AI to replace us. 3, democracy is a mind control machine, not a system for governing. And 4, at the end of it all, only GNON, only cold hard reality, gets to decide who wins. And believe me, we have only just scratched the surface here. If you're ready to go even deeper down this rabbit hole, the full source material is waiting for you. Subscribe to the Substack for the complete download, or hey, come join the live debate over on X. Which leaves us with one last chilling thought to keep you up tonight. This whole process, this relentless acceleration towards some new intelligence, it isn't asking for our permission. It's just happening. So the only real question is, what part do we play in it? Are we building the next glorious chapter of cosmic history? Or are we just the launch pad for our own replacements? That's it for this edition of Urban Odyssey Video. Keep questioning.